Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So in this one, I wanted to really take a second to talk a little bit about Tyrod Taylor, new Jets backup quarterback, obviously just brought in this offseason, 2-year contract, pretty reasonable from a financial standpoint as well. You know, you take a look at how last season went, obviously it was a complete and utter mess, for lack of a better term, right? And as we all know, one of the biggest downfalls of last season was Rodgers' injury, right? He gets hurt in the first game of the season, and the Jets are in like this complete state of panic, right? We have no quarterback production. It's Zach Wilson's team, but the plan, according to them, was to redshirt him, but then he's now the starting quarterback. We're not going to, even explore other quarterback options. We're not going to bring guys in for workouts. It was just a really, really strange time. But it seems like this go round, Joe Douglas and the Jets, they've learned their lesson, and they've signed Tyrod Taylor. They signed Tyrod really, really early in the process. So you know that was at the forefront of the Jets wish list, if you will. But I got to be honest, I think the Jets are in great, great hands with Tyrod Taylor. Now, of course, right, I don't want to see Tyrod Taylor playing for the Jets because we all know what that means, but in the event that he has to go out there and play for a week, play for a month, play for 2 months, whatever it may be, I think Tyrod Taylor can not only just keep us afloat, but he can do enough at the quarterback position to will us to victories, right? To get W's on Sunday. To me, I always kind of look at the backup quarterback position, and by the way, why this is relevant is because it's not just Aaron Rodgers that went down with the injury last year. We actually saw a record 60 plus different starting quarterbacks. 60 plus starting quarterbacks last season. There was a ton in 2022 as well. It's almost like a common trend. Like, having a backup quarterback is almost like having like a solid relief pitcher in baseball. Like, I mean, just talk about all the quarterback injuries a year ago. Like, it was insane how many teams have to go through 2-3 quarterbacks. I mean, we all know the Jets story, but the Giants went through, I think, 4. The Browns went through 4. Indy was making a playoff push with their backup in Gardner Minshew. Joe Burrow gets hurt. Kirk Cousins gets hurt. I mean, everybody, it seems like, outside of Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen, they experienced some sort of injury throughout the season. So, in other words, you got to be prepared, and I think the Jets did a really, really good job of getting prepared this offseason with the acquisition of Tyrod. So, you look at Tyrod as a player and ask the question, as a backup quarterback, does he bring enough qualities to the roster? Does he make this team better? And I think the answer is 100% without a doubt, yes. You look at Taylor's career so far. He's 34 years old. He has 13 years of NFL experience. He has 28 wins, 28 losses, and 1 tie, 65 career touchdowns to 29 career picks. We all know about the mobility when it comes to Tyrod Taylor. I mean, his nickname is T-Mobile for a reason. He can scramble around, make plays. I really think third and long, that's really where Taylor shines, right? Out of the shotgun, third and long, everybody's spread out. And, when the defense drops a lot of guys in coverage, sits back there in the pocket for a little bit, pulls it, and just books it, right? He can pick up like 10, 15 yards. I did that a lot back with the Buffalo Bills. And of course, he is a little bit older now than he was back, when he was the starting QB for Rex Ryan's Bills. But nonetheless, he's still the same guy. You combine the mobility with the deep ball accuracy, right? I'm shocked that nobody talks about Tyrod Taylor's arm strength. I mean, really throughout the course of his career, really since he got an opportunity back with the Bills, that's the one thing that always stood out to me with Taylor is, he might not put a ton of velocity on the football, but if you're talking about just downfield power, somebody with just like a flick of the wrist can just push the ball 50 yards and drop it in a bucket. Tyrod Taylor does a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful job of that. And I understand it. He's not a consistent starter anymore or anything, but man, Tyrod throws such a pretty football. So you got the deep ball accuracy, you got a strong enough arm, you got the mobility, you got tons of NFL experiences. Think about how many different teams and coaches that Taylor has been a part of, right? The amount of offensive systems, the amount of defenses that he's seen, the amount of times that he's gone through an NFL practice, sat in a quarterback meeting room, worked with good coaches, good offensive coaches. I mean, he is a Super Bowl champion, as of course a backup quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens early in his career. So I think Tyrod, to me, is the perfect backup that the Jets could have brought in. He was my number one target that I wanted the Jets to bring in as a backup, and I was super pumped up, not only that the Jets just signed him, but they signed him to a 2-year deal. So we also have that extra bit of security in 2025 as well. I think another thing that Taylor does a really good job at is we talked about the TD to INT ratio before, but just not giving the game away, right? There's almost like different, like everybody wants to like lump the starters into tiers, right? You got like your top 4, that's kind of a consensus. And then after the top 4, it's up for debate, on who you like, what system that you would prefer to run, what's your preferred style of offense. Do you prefer a younger guy, an older guy? How much do you factor injuries and games missed by these specific players? Everybody has different opinions on it. But when it comes to backups, it's really interesting because it's just like this blunt term. Yeah, you're backup quarterback, but I believe that there's tiers with the second string guys as well. I think, I would go as far as to say that Tyrod Taylor is probably a top 3 backup in football, given all the traits that we talked about before, the NFL experience, also too. The mental side of it, right? Him as a teammate, him as a leader, people love him. Like there's a reason why he continues to sign contract after contract after contract, and we're seeing other players that are much, much younger than him, out of the league. But when I'm thinking of other highly talented backup quarterbacks, right? Like if I was starting a team and I can say, all right, I can pick one of the backups, so I can't like double down with 2 starters. I think in no specific order, I would probably say Justin Fields is in that mix, or, if Justin Fields somehow wins the job, it would be Russell Wilson. So one of the 2 Steelers quarterbacks. I think Ryan Tannehill is super interesting, a guy who's still in the free agent market, right? If he signs with, whoever, San Francisco or something like that, technically he would be a backup. So I would throw him in the mix as well. And then I'd probably have to go with Tyrod Taylor. I like guys like Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston, but I would prefer Taylor. You got, I guess your crop of younger, unknown quarterbacks like Drake May, JJ McCarthy, right? Jury's still out on those guys. And then you got this other group or subset of backup quarterbacks, which are just like the young, developmental style of quarterback where, maybe they've had NFL experience and it just hasn't worked out. Maybe they're just waiting to crack the lineup. I'm thinking about guys like, Malik Willis, Zach Wilson, Kenny Pickett, right? Just these young guys that, the NFL hasn't given up on completely. They're going to get another opportunity, but you just can't, the body of work isn't there to say, oh yeah, you feel great about that player stepping in and winning consistently every single week. Now, it's not to say that those players can't turn into a guy like that. That's why they're there, right, to learn and develop. But at this point in time, there's more, I would say, surefire options, and Taylor's one of those guys. And then you have like the bottom group of quarterbacks, which are just borderline unplayable. Those are the guys that, will throw multiple picks. Doesn't matter who they're playing, when they're playing. You could pretty much like, it's like a guarantee, 1 to 2 INTs, a low completion percentage. Everything has to go right, and that quarterback has to play really, really well for the team to have a chance to win. Think of like a Tim Boyle, a Luke Falk, guys like that, where you just kind of feel like every time they roll out, it's just going to be those 2 picks or 3 picks or whatever it is. But again, I really, truly feel like Tyrod Taylor is a top 3 backup quarterback option in football. And to go from Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, Trevor Siemian to Tyrod Taylor and Jordan Travis, I would take that every single day of the week. Now, of course, we can't just pin it all on Zach. The offensive line was atrocious. They couldn't run the ball effectively, consistently. The coaching staff was also, the offensive coaching staff, in my opinion, has a lot to do with some of the downfalls of last season. So we can't put it all on Zach and Tim, but man, they definitely did not help. They did not help the issue whatsoever. But with Taylor, as a fan, you kind of feel more comfortable, right? A grip of the offense, knowing where to go with the football, breaking down the defense, understanding what they're trying to do to you on a specific play, being able to game plan and practice throughout the week, and also, too, him and Rodgers working together, picking each other's brains. The knowledge that they're going to pass down to Jordan Travis, I think, is, priceless, if you're Travis here. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.